Well, I'm not a speaker, and I much prefer filling the water and tea. So this is completely different for me. God's been working on me the past 3 or 4 weeks, and has shown me something. I felt His presence more so than ever before. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I got an idea from Steve. Looked up the word passion. It says intense, overmastering feeling or conviction. Have any of you ever found your passion or sweet spot any time in your lives? It could be one of many different things, but I found mine my first time in 8th grade, and my dad had just died 3 months earlier. I was going to a new school. We moved from a 100-acre farm to town where there's neighbors everywhere. So to say the least, 14-year-old in that environment, I had a very bad attitude, and I showed it. I was in sports all through school, so I was looking forward to getting into something. So I went out for the wrestling team. When I did that, I found my passion, or sweet spot. That I fit in. It was perfect. I loved it. I could get rid of all my anger and frustration on the mat. And so I wrestled my 8th grade year. I wrestled all through high school and enjoyed it completely. It was a passion, and I put everything into it. Now, I wasn't a great wrestler, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge. I looked forward to it all the time. And now, so for some of you with your passions or sweet spots through your life, it may have been sports, it may have been cars, guns, hunting, anything. But when you found that passion, when you found that sweet spot, you knew, because it just tied in with who you were. Now, fast forward to several years later. A year and a half ago, I started serving in the kids ministry. I started serving because I was told I needed to serve, and I chose that because they needed help. And plus I had a background working with kids, and so I was comfortable with that. Well, over that year and a half, God instilled in me a love for those kids, to where that was my passion. I enjoyed all the time I spent with them, and I look forward to each Sunday of sharing with them, and not just the group of guys I was working with, but all the kids. Now, something happened in me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was like a left hook, because I went back to serve in the kids area, and I became frustrated. I became unhappy and sad, which was complete opposite of what I'd been for the year and a half previous. I couldn't understand it, and it was eating at me the whole time. And I spoke with Krista, my wife, about it, and I spoke to God, of course, about it, and it just, nothing was clicking for me. And as the weeks went on, it just got worse. So I finally broke down and went to wise counsel, and I spoke with Stephen. Now, Stephen explained to me what was going on, and then the next day I bumped into another guy that I go to wise counsel for, Dave Kuntz, and it was a God thing that I bumped into, because it was all confirmed. Dave and Stephen never talked about it because Dave didn't know it until I spoke to him. And they were both telling me the same thing, the exact same thing, that our walk with Christ is like seasons. And my season with the kids ministry was over for now. But what I learned could go into my passion that has moved on. And this didn't happen when I was practicing. But for 3-4 weeks, God was showing me what my true passion was now, what it had grown into. And my true passion is working with the guys from Blue Ridge. Bringing guys in and sharing Christ with them. That's my passion now, and I realize that. I'm thick-headed, kind of slow, so it took God 3 or 4 weeks to get that through to me. But I'm glad He did, because you might not tell it by crying, but I'm much happier now. But it opened my eyes, and it gave me freedom to move completely into that passion and to have that focus. And now I've decided to focus my time and energy in that passion, and to do it to the best of my ability with excellence through Christ. Now, that's not anything of me. That's just simple obedience. So, think back what your passions might have been. Think back how that felt when you hit that sweet spot in your life and everything just clicked. How great it felt. Now, I'm going to use a couple of guys as examples from the Bible. I in no way, shape, or form, or I'm not comparing myself to them. Once I tell you who they are, you'll understand. The first one is David. In 1 Samuel 17, start at verse 20. Early in the morning, David left the flock with the shepherd, loaded up, and set out as Jesse had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle position, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines, facing each other. And David left his things with the keeper of supplies. He ran out to the battle line and greeted his brothers. As he walked with them and was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. When the Israelites saw the man, they all ran from him in great fear. Now the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his father's family from taxes in Israel." That'd be something. David asked the man standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills a Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" And they repeated to him what they had been saying. And they told him, this is what will be done for the man who kills him. Now, after that, David's oldest brother jumped all over him, was giving him a hard time, but David still kept going. He met Saul. Saul said, you're too young, you're too small. He still kept going. He got out on the field with Goliath, and then Goliath laid into him. But David never stopped. He never wavered, because he had an amazing passion for God.